This e-bike on Amazon costs $219, and this one from Tenways costs $2,200. Both of these bikes are step-through. Both have a motor, battery, brakes, all of the stuff that you find on e-bikes. So what I'm gonna do is just break down the e-bike piece by piece to find out how one bike can cost $200 and another bike can cost $2,200. And then I'll let you know if it's worth it to buy the $200 bike or to save your pennies and pick up something a little bit more. All right, the first piece I want to talk about is the most expensive thing on an e-bike, and that's the battery. Batteries can range from $100 to over $1,000. And batteries are kind of important because if you buy a crappy battery, yeah, your bike might last for 2 or 3 months, but a year down the road after a cold winter, probably not. And I say that because there's been bikes that I've had that have done that. And a lot of the bikes sold on Amazon really don't have high quality batteries. So what battery do you wanna make sure that you have on your e-bike? You wanna have either Samsung, LG, Panasonic, or an EVE battery. And the reason why I say EVE battery is because that's what you have right here. I did a little bit of research and digging around to find out if that was a good battery, and I found out that it is. That company's ranked 3 in China and then 6 globally for producing high quality batteries. Now with the mid-level bike, like this one from Tenways, these types of bikes are gonna have a battery management system, and that's gonna basically just protect against overcharging, overcurrent, all of that stuff to make sure your battery lasts as long as possible. $200 bikes sold on Amazon. If they say they have BMS technology, that may or may not be believable. Tenways says that the Wayfarer, which is the name of this bike, is fully certified. It's got all the UL certifications and things just in it. And that's one of the reasons that causes the price to rise in these mid-level bikes is because they have to pay companies to do that certification. Your Amazon bike companies, they ain't doing that. The last difference in price when it comes to batteries between the $200 bike and the $2,200 bike is that the $2,200 bike is gonna have the battery most likely built into the frame, which it is here with the Tenways. And with this one, it has this dust cover on it. So if you push that down, dust cover comes off. You got a couple of keys, you can take this battery out, and then that just pops right back on. That's slick, I like it. $200 bike, battery's gonna be out of the frame, making it as affordable as possible. And since we're talking about batteries, that is a 48 volt, 15 amp hour battery. Tenways has given it a range rating of 85 miles. The other day I took it on a short range test. I got 15 miles. I had about 1,000 feet of elevation gain. My average speed was around 27, 20 miles per hour. And when I got back home, the battery life said 31%. Now, if I would have taken the battery all the way, I probably could get around 20 to 25, which is what I would expect for a bike in this price range. And even then, that's quite a bit different from the 85 range rating. To get that, you would have to go a lot slower on flat terrain and not weigh as much as I do, and I'm 180. The second most expensive thing in an e-bike is right there. That's the motor. Over the years, reviewing some of these Amazon bikes is that they just go very, very powerful in the motor departments. They know that if they can give a little thrill to the rider, that rider's gonna give that bike a high review. But here's the problem between a low range motor and a high range motor. The low range motors, they hit hard, but it takes a while for that power to come on. Most of those bikes, you have to pedal about 3 to 4 revolutions before that power hits. And then when it does hit, it hits hard, which can be a little bit jarring. With the high-end motors, especially with the torque sensor, as soon as you put any pressure in those pedals, that motor hits, but it doesn't hit super hard. It's more of a gradual step-up process, which just makes the ride more enjoyable, more intuitive. And for me, I just like it better. It's like, would you rather walk on a rough road or a smooth road? I'm gonna choose smooth road. Now the motor that Tenways put in the Wayfarer is a 500 watt motor. And then in the advanced settings, you can change the class of the bike. It has class 1, 2, and 3. On class 1 and 2, the bike's gonna top out at 20 miles per hour. On class 3, it's gonna hit about 27, 28. When I was just casually pedaling, I was getting 27. Now you do have a throttle, and the cool thing about this is if you live in an area where they ban throttles, they're anti-throttle people, you can just unplug it. Anyways, that throttle only works if you set the bike to class 1 or 2. The third most expensive thing on a bike is the frame. And this is where you can have a pretty big difference in price. They got bikes out there that the frame weighs ounces and you're paying $15,000, $20,000 for it. And then you got super cheap frames that are just basically some metal out in the yard that they welded together to create a bike frame. Again, over the years, I tested a few of those Amazon bikes, and that's one thing that they have in common is that a lot of them are pretty heavy. This is a full-size bike, and most full-size bikes are gonna be weighing about 70 to 80 pounds. This one is 57.5. That's like crazy lightweight for a bike. And as I'm looking at this frame, perusing from top to bottom, I'm noticing that there are 0 welding scars. Just a nice, slim, sleek, and smooth frame. And that's one thing that you definitely should expect for a bike over $2,000. Those $200 bikes on Amazon, oh no, that frame's gonna be jacked up. The next piece I want to talk about is the suspension. That's the fourth most expensive piece on an e-bike. If you guys buy a $200 bike off of Amazon, just know it's not going to be good. The front forks alone can range from $50 up to like $1,000 or over $1,000. I'm not sure how high you can go. And then you got spring suspension, you got hydraulic spring suspension, you got polymer suspension, and then you got air suspension. And that's what you have here with the Tenways. That is some nice, cushy, smooth, quiet suspension. I took this off-road for a little bit when I was doing the range test and was actually pretty impressed with how smooth this is. And that's just the front fork. I haven't even talked about the seat post air suspension. So air in the front, air underneath the saddle. Got some nice, good travel there. The only thing I don't like about these types of bikes when going off-road is if it's super rough terrain, being a step-through bike, you kind of get a little frame wobble. It's just not as solid as if you had that second bar come across. And then you also have off-road tires, not super knobby. Those are more gravel type tires. But again, you got some traction and some grip for hitting some of those dusty mountain roads. Okay. We've now entered the rapid fire round where these are the things that are gonna be much different than those Amazon bikes. And the first one is the brakes. Amazon bikes, they're gonna have your cheapest disc brakes possible. With the Tenways Wayfarer, you got some nice smooth hydraulic brakes. Brake levers don't require a lot of pressure for hard braking. Right side controls the rear, left side the front, and they are connected to the tail light. With the mid-level range bike, all the gear in the cockpit is just gonna be much, much nicer, as you would expect, than a more affordable bike. The more affordable bikes have a SIS Shimano shifter. It's like the cheapest shifter you can get. With this one, you have an 8-speed trigger style shifter. There's nicer grips, a nice feeling control panel. All the touch points, as they say, just feel nicer. And then you have a big color LCD screen. You do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speed modes. You can adjust the stem, and the lights do come on automatically. It's kind of dark in my garage, and so when I turn the bike on, they just automatically came on. But when I take it outside in the sun, it shuts off. But you can turn them on manually by just holding down the plus button. This is compatible with Apple Find Me. It's got an IPX6 water-resistant rating, and that's pretty much it. All right, so would I recommend that $200 bike from Amazon compared to this? Oh, hell no. So my recommendation is to save your pennies, pick up something nicer, you'll like the ride better, you got the confidence it's gonna last, and it just looks good. You get a nicer looking bike. So if you wanna check it out, I've got the link in the bio. And as always, thanks for hopping on here and checking out my content. And that's it. So see you later.